This is the second session that we're doing leading up to our August Florida boot camp. It's an immersion weekend and it's going to be a very intense time. We want to deliver a lot of transformation, not information, but transformation. We want our students to actually leave this weekend changed, transformed, on a different trajectory in their dating, and having experienced a hands-on weekend with two coaches, one being me and one being our female coach as well, Nicole Rafferty. She's going to be in our boot camp as a co-host instead of just it being entirely my boot camp. Nicole offers so much variety in her essence that she has a spiritual side, she has a psychology background, and she's also a big people person. One of those people that really values social connections and social networks, I would say, as much as I do. Her family is very into social media and marketing, and she is very into the brain and also yoga as well. She offers a lot of talent, and she is a experienced coach when it comes to men's dating. She and I have worked together for 2 years, maybe a little bit less, a little bit under 2 years, and we have developed a lot of guys from not knowing what to say to being able to structure in their mind what the process is, what they need to go through bit by bit so that they can actually deliver an effective approach and make their approach actually intentional towards the outcome that they want. There's going to be so much more than a dating boot camp. There's going to be an unlock your social confidence boot camp, and I can't wait to share a little bit more about what, especially my side, this is a lot of stuff that I was thinking of. Today I'm going to deliver to you in these slides. Just wanted to let you know what I'm looking forward to sharing and teach you some of it today. All right, so we're eliminating uncertainty. That's what the title of today's session is session 2, pre-boot camp. The boot camp's happening on the 14th to the 16th of August. Alejandra's going to be there as well. Can I get a whoop whoop from the crowd? Ale, are you there for a little, how do you say it in Spanish? Whoopa whoopa? And you'll never have to wonder what to do next again. I think this is a big fear that a lot of guys experience, is that they just don't know actually where to take the conversation next. They are confused. They've said something, they've started a conversation, and they're just wondering, how do I progress this forward? That's one of the things that I'm very good at. It's one of the things that I love teaching, is this verbal intimacy where you tiptoe towards what you want. Let's say you want intimacy. Let's say you want a relationship. Let's say you want to get to know somebody a little bit better. You tiptoe towards it by using your words. They're called verbal intimacy, or VI. I'm going to be talking a lot about that. Here's the problem. This is why most men are stuck, and why this is actually the easiest strategy to build your dating life, because you can have it exactly the way that you want it. You can curate your dating life by starting with your lifestyle. And a lot of men are struggling with their dating because of these 3 factors, right? There's the front end problem. And Kunal, you're probably in the front end problem. I think we mentioned that before. Do any of those top 3 X's sort of relate to you?
All of them, all of them. I rely on dating apps, which I don't have much success with, and I don't really cold approach at all. And I find meeting women difficult generally. Yes, it's all relates to me.
And what that leads to is not enough opportunities. In business, you call it like a lead generation problem, right? If you don't have enough people coming to buy your product, then you need to go out and do some marketing and get your product in front of people. That's your issue, is that you're not marketing yourself enough. And the only way that you're marketing yourself is by using dating apps, which are unfortunately a business in themselves. Their business is to keep you perpetually single, to keep you on the app for as long as possible. And now they're starting to advertise on the app. So you can tell that they just want you to sit there on the app. Every 10, 15 swipes, you get a little advert saying like, would you like this product? Now it's totally just, it's against you. It's not even for you anymore. And the amount of people that I've heard about having success on dating apps is going down. There's less positive stories. There's less people who have had success on dating apps than there was 5 years ago. I remember a lot of people that were dating because they met on dating apps. Now it's like you're either single or you're hoping that you're going to meet somebody in a different way. I think partly it's because the people who are using dating apps are kind of able to show a different side of themselves online to who they actually are. And so there's a disconnect, there's a disparity between the version that you can present online. I have 6 AI enhanced photos on my Hinge. I have AI generated ChatGPT Hinge prompts. and I get a few matches here and there. I get more matches now. I've done my profile with AI than I did before I did my profile with AI, and I just know that the other end of that is also full of AI. So the girls are using AI, the guys are using AI. We're just a bunch of AI avatars appreciating each other's AI avatars. Dating apps is not the way. Getting back to the old style of cold approach is what I really like to teach. This is my front end option. And cold approach is challenging for a lot of guys. Cold approach is difficult if you don't have a system. If you don't know how to build real attraction and real connection, then cold approach is just a person walking up to another person and starting a conversation. If you don't know what you're doing, you can end up in the friend zone and you can end up just meeting people and them not wanting to pursue things, not wanting to see you again, which is extremely disheartening because cold approach is already super hard, and you'd hope that women would just appreciate the fact that you've come up to them, but they don't just appreciate that. They wait for the right type of interaction. They want to be cold approach, but they always say in the right way. They caveat, we want to be cold approach in the right way. Doing it in the right way is definitely the solution, but I do see cold approach as something that's flawed. It lacks longevity because it's draining and you meet a lot of people and then it goes nowhere, right? You meet them and maybe you get them out on a date, but you don't really like them because you're just cold approaching, you just met people, and now you have a whole bunch of people that you've met. You have a whole bunch of people that you might have their Instagram and their phone number. You don't end up on a date with them. You might end up on a date with them, and then you have a whole bunch of people who you end up on a date with, but you don't actually like enough to want to pursue, or things just fizzle out for one reason or another. And this cold approaching strategy does have limitations, does have a structural flaw, which is that you're not putting your cold approach successes anywhere. We kind of touched on the mid-end problem here. This is the problem that you, Kunal, are starting to get into because you've done an approach-a-thon now in London, which is essentially a mini boot camp. You've had a lot more experience of cold approaching women. You have interacted with more women in the last few weeks than you have for the rest of your life. A lot of the other students who have come to the approach-a-thons in London have been pleased with the results that they have done an approach, right? They are over the moon that they can approach, because before the approach-a-thons, they couldn't approach. I've taken them from never having approached to having done their first 10 approaches, and I think that is a massive achievement. That's a big win. That is what I would class as fixing the front-end problem. Now, you do have enough opportunity, but now we notice that the mid-end starts to become the problem, which is that there's no attraction system. And this is what you, Kunal, are desperately waiting for me to go through. And if you would like me to, I'm going to make another slideshow lecture with just the attraction system, because I think that would be really helpful for you.
Yeah, that'd be really good. That'd be really good.
Maybe we could do that next week, maybe we should do the front end first, and then we should do the mid end. And then obviously the back end is something that I'm very well prepared on because I teach the social icons framework, and that masterclass is already available in school to unlock. So in school, there is the social icons, which is the back end. That is how to build a lifestyle worth joining. But this mid end is not having an attraction system. So not having Rupin's attraction builders and not being conscious and intentional whilst you're doing a drill with Nicole, or tomorrow Alejandra. Alejandra tomorrow again, so looking forward to that with her. All right, so every interaction feels high stakes, which means that when you're approaching a woman, you are thinking that if it goes well, then that means that I am validated. That means that I am approved of, and that the female species accepts me and my manhood as tolerable. And if they don't, let's say I get rejected, or let's say somebody doesn't interact with me in a positive way, then I might feel like everything is crumbling, and I might go into my head, become anxious and unable to return to center. So that's what I mean by everything feels high stakes. Now, the romantic funnel is that let's say you see a girl, you find her attractive, you go over to her and you say, hey, I find you attractive. She says, oh, thanks. She gives you a number. And then what do you do with that number? Well, you ask her out for a date, and you go on a date, and that's the only option that you have every time you meet a woman. The only thing that you can do is possibly go out on a date, because you don't have anything else in your social life that is where you could put this woman. I put date or bust. But like playing blackjack at the casino. Either you get your numbers, the ones that you want, or you bust. And so either you end up on a date with this girl, you go out on a date with her again, you end up dating and she becomes your girlfriend, or nothing happens. And so the work that you've done to meet her, to cold approach her, to become skilled, to grow your confidence and to learn the attraction system, then either ends up with you having a date, maybe you have a nice time, maybe you hook up, or the alternative is that it just goes nowhere and that is wasted time and lost opportunity. All right, so the other big issue, and this is one that I teach very often, it's something that I really stand by, is that we as men are often trying to prove ourselves to women. We're trying to get them to approve. We're trying to get them to see us as quality and to see us as qualified potential. This is exactly the wrong way round to build attraction. Women do not like to feel like they are judging you. They actually want to slightly be in their insecurities. They want to be slightly nervous that you're not going to pick them or that you're not going to accept them, because this allows them to feel their introverted ways of self-consciousness. Women are very self-conscious. They care about how their hair looks, about how their makeup looks, and a lot of that is in effort to try to impress people. And so if you qualify her straight off the bat, what you're saying is that you are impressed by her. And so all of that insecurity and all of that self-consciousness goes away for her, and she feels incongruent because she genuinely is self-conscious and she genuinely is looking at herself wondering if she's impressive. And so if you say you are already impressive and you do not need to do anything to qualify yourself, then you are robbing her of that inner congruency where she gets to feel the same on the inside as she feels on the outside. Instead of trying to impress her, what I teach and what makes the attraction system work, it's the bit that makes it all come together, is that you put her on the judgment scale of qualification. You're the one who's working out whether she qualifies to be in your life. You're the one who's working out whether she is impressing you and whether she gets to stay. Okay, so overinvestment from the guy is the next one. Overinvestment is like leaning in, for example, whilst you're talking to a girl. Overinvestment is maybe saying, it would be amazing if you came to our drinks. I think it would be so much better if you were there. Overinvestment might be taking her Instagram and then ending up in her message request box and double, triple, quadruple texting her. Overinvestment might be going for a cocktail or something and buying the second round, continually funding the encounter financially or with your time. And that's all instead of gradually investing, instead of letting the incremental increase in your perception of her help to increase the investment from you. So as you feel like she's worth it, then you increase the investment from you. And the other side of this is that you can actually get her to earn that investment. For example, if you are going to go for a wonderful dinner. Maybe you meet some girl in the afternoon, maybe you're all hanging out with your friends and she comes along for that afternoon and you and your friends are going to go out for this dinner, and you might take this girl with you and you might pay for her food because you see it as potentially a date. But the overinvestment is that she hasn't done anything to earn that yet. And one of the ways that you could maybe say that she has earned it is by looking at whether you've already had a kiss or not. Kissing is one of those social contracts that women are letting you know that they choose you and that they are equally invested in you, because women will happily come for the dinner. They will happily eat the food that you provide and maybe would hold back on their side of the investment. They might not want to kiss you. They might not want to date you, but you're offering food, and so they come along. And so you can start to see how instead of over-investing, you actually want to make her earn your investment. And you all might be like me, where I'm the kind of guy who does over-invest. I like over-investing, but I have learned that over-investing into the wrong people and people who don't deserve it isn't worth it. It's not sensible, and it doesn't make me feel good about myself. So in dating, you want to be the kind of guy who is intentional and conscious about where you place your investments. Just like you might with your crypto and your stocks and shares, you might want to be diligent about where and who you invest in. Any questions from you, Kunal, on the mid end?
No, that all makes sense to us, Ruben. Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. The back end. This is about your lifestyle. This is lifestyle maxing. This is about creating a world for yourself that you enjoy living in, a world that you feel represents you and actually progresses you. One of the ways that you can really take charge of your social life is by creating your container events. Your container events are where you funnel the women that you've cold approached. Now you're fixing the front end. You've dealt with your approach anxiety. You are starting to put yourself into more situations where you get to meet women. You have dealt with the attraction systems. Now, when you meet girls, every single time you meet girls, they're down to hang out. They're down to connect with you. They feel like you offer a lot of value and they can't say no to you. You're creating something irresistible in your attraction systems. Now, where do you put them? Well, this is where you put them. You put them into a lifestyle that's worth joining. And worth joining is about anyone. So anybody would find your lifestyle worth joining, but specifically the type of woman that you actually want to date, potentially the type of woman that you want to marry. This is where you can really start to create your lifestyle and curate your lifestyle so that your type would find it easy to slip into your life, to become a part of your life. And so a lot of people don't have that. They don't have a social circle. They don't have a social circle full of attractive females. I hardly go out unless I've got wing girls. I think that this is a vital part of 2026 dating. It's much more effective than going out with the boys or by yourself, especially if you're going to bars and clubs. If you take a bunch of attractive females with you, you will leave with even more attractive females, guaranteed. I promise you, that is a guarantee. You could take that to the bank. So how do you do that? Well, you host your events. When you are the host of your own events, one beautiful thing happens, which is that everybody comes through and shakes your hand. They're all like, oh my God, hi Kunal, it's great to meet you. Thanks for hosting this event. You get to hug and kiss everybody on the cheek, and basically you are the central spoke of all information and all fun passes through you. So when you host your own events, you can curate the event in the way that you want it. You can curate the guest list to only be people that you actually want, and you can make it mutualistic so that you actually offer value to the people who are coming as well as to the venue that you've managed to build your social circle from. Okay, so the third X here is that there just isn't anywhere for her to become part of your life. You could go out for drinks, you could go out for dinner every time, but she doesn't really get to see your life. Does she really get an insight to who you are and what you are? No. All she's getting is the version of yourself that you are presenting to her, and she knows it. She can tell that you put a tie on for the first time in months because you wanted to go on a date. She can tell that you don't know how to use the starter, fork and knife, and you're just at a fancy fresh French restaurant instead of where you normally go for dinner. She can tell that this is not a natural part of your life, the way that you go for that. You just funnel the women into your social circle and they meet you and they get nurtured in your social circle. So they meet you repeatedly, as well as seeing an insight into your lifestyle, as well as meeting your friends, which are a bunch of attractive females, which makes it a no-brainer for her because she's like, if women don't mind being around this guy, then he must be the kind of guy that women can healthily and effectively be around. Plus, the attractive females big you up. They make you seem more attractive because they offer insight into who you are and they share stories, tidbits, and let her know what's so amazing about dating you. Any questions?
So with this ripping, obviously with the back end, like are you essentially like building a harem so you can like get obviously social proof for other women, of course, but also are these women that you'll like hook up with and stuff, or are they like just people that you just keep around? I mean, how's that work essentially?
Yeah, it's a great question, Connor. So we have an idea of how many women works really well in a social circle. So any amount of women between 2 and 4 or 5,
Okay.
because you want it to fit in an Uber XL.
Okay. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So the problem with one woman is that everybody thinks that's your girlfriend. So you need to be with 2 minimum. 2 is good enough. 3 gets better. 4 gets better. 5 gets better, and then 6 is like it's possibly disaster. Like it's potential for situations because there's too many people. Just can't manage it. There's just a limitation. So in answer to your question, the number one rule with having this lifestyle is that you don't hook up with your wing girls. You just don't make this a sexual thing. You keep these wing girls as female friends, and as soon as you start hooking up with them, one issue that starts to happen is that it becomes divisive. Either they can't cope with being in the social circle going forwards, and they start to lose their place as an effective wing girl, or other women start to feel this like uneasiness being in the drama, in the middle of some drama, right? So you want to have your actual wing girls who you don't have sex with, who you don't sleep with, they're not potential matches. You want to create an inner core group. So you have like the girls that you go out with every single time. And you'll know some of mine. They are some of the drills girls that we do Tuesdays calls with. So Ruby and Darina, we go out to Archer Street perhaps as like my social circle night out. And when I'm there, I'm not trying to hook up with Darina or trying to hook up with Ruby. What I am trying to do is merge more girls into the group, and I'm utilizing the fact that I'm with women so that more girls can join our group comfortably, and then out of the girls that are with us but not in the core group, that's who would become the crush, the potential match. But because you're surrounded by so many girls, Kunal, what the mindset shift that starts to happen, and one that I really encourage you to start to adopt, is that you don't need to make moves on girls anymore. You're getting to the point now where you can just sit back and wait. You can just be the leader. You can just be the central spoke of fun and entertainment. And then what happens is that the girl who's attracted to you starts to make a move on you. So she comes to you, she sits close to you, she starts talking to you, asks you questions, and then before you know it, you're gonna be like, hey, let's go dance, or let's go get a shot, or let's go see the moon, or go to the smoking area or something. You can go on a little adventure with her once she has made it very clear that she is creating proximity with you, and you're like, okay, I can tell that you like me. And guess what, Kunal? This is not the same as choosing from, like a bunch of girls, right? This is
Right.
not. This is not like when you just let some girl come up to you and the girl comes up to you and you just flirt back with her. No, the reason why this is different is because you cold approached the girls. You
Yeah.
brought them into the group. So they're all girls that you're attracted to. There's no one that you don't consider as a possible, target or crush, because you cold approached them. You brought them into the group and the network, so you're attracted to all of them, and so it doesn't matter which one of the girls kind of makes a move on you. You actually get to sit back and choose whether you want to pursue that option or not, because you have abundance. So you're coming from a different place in your mind where you're not trying to get girls, you're not trying to like access more women or sex intimacy. You're actually comfortable just sitting back and letting them make moves on you and let them choose you, because you've created this structure and this event, this lifestyle where if every woman in the room you like and they kind of like you enough, then you like all of them are possibilities. So you just wait, you just let them come and you just interact with each of them individually. This is also, Kunal, where you put the dates that you have from your cold approach, right? So you have your event running. Darina and Ruby and Rupin are going to Archer Street on Friday. And then you go and cold approach Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then all of the girls that you've met, you just bring them to the drinks event on the Friday, but you can arrange it however you want. Sometimes I suggest to do a mini drink before, so it like gels Ruby, Darina, and Rupin before we go into Archer Street, and that we're all a group, so that when we get to the actual venue, we have gelled as a group. So if there's any girls that are coming, they come and meet us an hour before. We have one drink before we go into Archer Street, and we're a crew when we arrive. So that's now you have the options of women that you have cold approach, so you can make a move on those girls. They're not your wing girl. They're actually kind of on a date with you. They just don't know that they're on a date with you because it just feels so social. And the whole time you are doing the qualification that we've got in the mid end of the attraction system. So you're qualifying them throughout this occasion, but they don't realize that they're being qualified because they're not on a one-to-one formal date with you. And they're
Makes
having
sense.
an amazing time, right? They're like, that was so fun. That was the most fun I've had. They're like blown away by how awesome it is. They come back. They come back to your event in the future, and they bring their friends with them. They bring their single girlfriends with them, and they bring the girls to you. And they're like, "Go out. You should meet this girl. I think you really get along with her."
Yeah, makes sense. Question out in those, like it makes sense what you're saying, but the fact that when you cold approach, when you're trying to generate that social circle, when you obviously do the cold approaches to get them into your social circle, essentially, are they not like confused because like obviously you approach them with obviously what they perceive the intent that you want to date them, and then you then switch and say no, you're actually my wing runner. Is it not like do they not get confused by that, or do they? I mean, how do they react to that?
Yeah, it's another great question, Kunal. I think what you should do is listen to the mindset that you're coming from
Mm.
because the type of question that you just asked is indicative of how you see cold approach right now.
Yeah, right.
And so if you look back at approach-a-thon that we've just done,
Mm.
Thursdays, how many of those girls did you have a romantic intention with that if you had asked them out at the end, they would be like, oh, we're going on a date?
Yeah, no,
None, yeah. Obviously, we were doing some challenges, so it's not like a real world experience. But
no.
when you invite a girl, let's say you've cold approached a girl, it's gone well, you're like, you've built some commonalities, you've teased her a little bit, you've done step 4 of my attraction building framework, right? So you've opened, you have done a intuitive guess, and you are giving her some like attraction story, transitioning to an attraction story, and now you're false disqualifying her. So the 4th step is the false disqualification, which would sound something like, we're definitely not going to get along, there's no way that we're going to work out as boyfriend and girlfriend, we're getting divorced. So you're basically creating some romantic tension between you and her by creating this artificial barrier. And then you're leading into the call to action. So you've told her that we're not going to get along, even though you were joking, and now you're inviting her to something. It just releases all of that romantic pressure, right? She doesn't come to the thing thinking that, oh, this is a date. She just comes to the thing thinking like, that guy's awesome. I loved meeting him and I can't wait to see him again, no matter what the occasion. And when you deliver your call to action, what you're trying to do is you're trying to deliver value, right? So if you find out that you both like espresso martinis, what you're trying to deliver to her is value. So you say, I actually know the best place to get espresso martinis in town, and I'd love to bring you along. I actually get drinks there very often with my friends, and we're having like an event, a drinks event there. So you should try and come on Friday. It's going to be really fun, and we're going to all get together a little bit before to kind of catch up. Then we're all going to go in together. So the way that you do the invite is, we are going for this thing with friends. So me and you are going to meet my friends for this thing that I already do. Now,
Mm.
it takes the romantic pressure off. It lets her know that you are social. And some girls don't like it. Some girls are like, I just want to meet you in person. And that's okay. You know, some girls are just like, no, I'd rather meet in person. And for me personally, I'm like, well, I don't really need to meet any girls in person one to one. So I just let those ones pass by, right? But you can even do a one-to-one date first, and then you can add her into the social circle, and then you can, take her for another one-to-one date after, if that's what suits you best, depending on like your frequency of the events. But one thing that a lot of students always ask me is like, what if there's like 3 girls there that all like you? Well, they kind of work it out between themselves. They tend to realize whether they like you or not during that evening, and whether they actually want to romantically progress with you. And obviously, women are very competitive. They're more competitive than men are. Women will try to one up each other, and sometimes they come in with just their ego guiding that decision. So this is why qualification is so important. This is why connection is so important. And this is why overinvestment is so important. So you can work out who is pretending to like you enough to want more, and who is just actually there for the real connection, the authentic connection between you and her. So they sort it out between themselves. And also, you have free will. So if there is 3 girls there that you kind of like, but you go through this qualification round where you're qualifying them, and you work out, actually, there's one girl who qualifies, but she's not the one that I'm most attracted to. You could just be like, well, there's no girls here that are right for me because 2 have not qualified, and the one that has qualified, you don't find that attractive. You just enjoy the social circle now, where you have a whole bunch of girls with you, and you continue to approach more girls because you're in your container event, which is normally at your home base. So it's at your location of preference, which is quickly becoming Sway Bar for me. Sway Bar seems to be a great place for me to meet potential clients, also very pretty brown girls, but we already knew it was a great place to meet brown girls. It always has been, and now they play the football. So really enjoying Sway Bar, really enjoying, the front bouncer, whose name is Kingsley. He's a bit of a legend. We know each other quite well. We've met each other the last few weeks. I was tempted to move away from Archer Street anyway because the management, the security, the front of house, they've all changed. I mean, I like Siobhan, the owner. She's an awesome person. And when I see her, we always chill and have a drink. But to be honest, like, there's some slight changes in the team, and that is making a big difference to how my social circle feels when I arrive. So when I get there, it's not like Anas dapping me up, telling me to just cut the queue, come on through, like, you're my boy, oh, these are your friends, hey, like, meeting them all, like, we go in, we say hi to Beth, We hug with Beth. Jed takes care of us. They find us and say, like, all of that used to happen every time I used to go. And then I went to Dallas and Miami for 2 months, and I got back, and all of the team has changed. I get that this team is still the same people, like I knew them from before anyway, but there's just a different air and a different aura. So I'm tempted to just make my home base somewhere that suits me better. You don't have to make the home base the place that you want it to be. It could just be the place that works the best for you. But when you do have that home base, basically everybody treats you like royalty. They care about you. And if you ever have a problem, you're the first one that they come to be like, how can I solve that problem for you? So when you're in that scenario, you've got your home base and you've got your wing girls, your close entourage, and now you have extra girls and you don't like any of them. You could just look out into the wilderness and be like, all right, who else do I like? I am surrounded by women. I have unlimited social credit, and I could just bring any girl into the group. I could even false disqualify the one who is the most qualified. And I could false disqualify in a way where I'm like, you're my new wing girl, you're my dating coach, you're my matchmaker, and I could make her into my wing girl for the night, and I could get her to help me bring in more girls to the group. And all of this is done, Kunal, whilst you are providing value to the girls as well. So you want to find out what is missing in their life. What's the thing that they need right now that you can help them with? And this is obviously a challenge. This is social dynamics. This is how you get better at interacting with people, is that you try to fill other people's needs. So some of those cold approaches that you did on Thursday, you might have got to the point where you're like, oh, I realize what you actually need. You just need a bit of fun in your life, or you're looking for like somewhere to go to more sports activities or something. So you're just feeling out the person, you're understanding the person, and then once you know what their lack is, then you can fill their lack. And a lot of the single young girls, they would like a boyfriend, they would like a husband, and they want to go to mature places where they can meet people. And so you could be their wingman. It's not just a one-way street. You could be like, no, we're not dating. I didn't qualify you. You don't make the cut, but I'm going to help you to find somebody. And as we help you to find somebody, I'm going to continue to cold approach girls here in the bar or wherever your home base is. Maybe yours is more of a sports thing. Maybe we do like some CET events and we host like the Optom version. There's an opportunity for like healthcare professionals to be like a niched social mixer event in London. I think that'd be really helpful for us personally, but also a lot of the community. So does that answer the question?
That's really, yeah, thank you. That's good. Brilliant, thank you.
Andre, how's it going?
Hello, hello. Going
What's
well.
Where are you at right now? You've been traveling a lot.
Now back back in my hometown. But yeah, been I did a tour last week with a couple of people, mostly old people. So good to be back.
Okay, good. Okay, nice. Fantastic. Well, welcome to the call. Thanks for joining. We are just going through the problem right now. So, why people are stuck and my 3-part journey to fixing your dating life. So, I'm going to just move on to the next slide here because I